Welcome to Lovely Esteem. I'm Lovely, the auntie you always wanted, the sister girlfriend you didn't know you needed, baby. You gotta have self-love to have self-esteem, and here we know that God don't make no junk. So we're gonna sit back, talk about it, and see how we can fix it, baby. Let's do it! Guys, this is Lovely with Lovely Esteem, and today we have a wonderful guest. We met on Entreprenista,
Yes, we did.
and I call it Sister Panista because I just feel like so far, all of the people I've met there, we have such like-minded moments, not always in the same genre, but we all want to see each other win. We want to see each other, prosper. And I feel like trying to win and prosper and have success on top of being a woman, a leader, trying to really just accomplish so much and to make it look less stressful. That's why we're here. And I want to make sure I'm saying your name right. Miss Noor Ali.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. So my daytime job comes into play. I work at a law firm and we have a lot of clients, and I'm always trying to make sure that their names are said correctly because it counts. Like we all deserve to have our names said correctly.
Yes,
So please introduce us to yourself. We are so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity and having me on your show today. So, my name is Noor, originally from New York City, living in Tampa, Florida now. I'm a medical doctor by education. I have a dual degree in internal medicine and general surgery, but I'm not practicing medicine in the States. I have several businesses. The primary one is health insurance consulting, where I advise female founders all over the country on what to do for their health insurance for themselves, for their small teams. And I also have a brand called Think Like a Woman, where I bring together C-suite women from all over the country over a highly curated, very intimate, exclusive roundtable business networking event over brunch.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so interested in the health insurance portion of this because
Sure.
as I, as we said before we even started recording, that you are in the height of your busiest season. Like life
Yes.
is really coming at you awfully fast.
Yes.
Um, and I think sometimes when we are thinking about health insurance, myself included, the first thing that comes into mind is, are my children covered? Not even me. I mean, I have health insurance now, and at 47, I've had it at all of my career, but my health insurance urgencies have always kind of been around family. So in
Mhm.
building a business and thinking about your employees, what are like your top two pieces of advice you would give to a woman or a woman in president CEO when she's thinking about health insurance for her employees?
Yes, that's a great question. The first advice I have is to work with a professional like myself. It can get really daunting to kind of figure this out on your own, mainly because if you're Googling or trying to solve this by yourself, the top results you're going to see are really what the big insurance with the deepest ad budgets, what they want you to see, right? So having someone on your side, someone that you trust to really do that needs assessment, risk assessment, evaluation, and guide and advise you on where to start your research. Even guidance on that, just that piece of advice alone is a huge deal. So there's two markets when it comes to researching and purchasing health insurance, the public healthcare marketplace and the private healthcare marketplace. Just knowing which market to begin the research in can be huge when it comes to picking the right health insurance plan.
I love that. I love that. And when it comes to kind of curating your business, one thing I've found very interesting about becoming an entrepreneur is you have kind of two categories. You have some people who fall under the line of, I must learn everything, everything, like bit by bit, piece by piece. And then you have the second column where you kind of just jump in. You jump in
Mhm.
and you hope you learn along the
Yeah.
way. Um, but what I've noticed that works well for me is having that intimate group of women, honestly, because we're on the same road, different paths sometimes, but like we're trying to get to the same place and having those conversations with each other. So I love your idea of having that intimate space where you get to discuss and really kind of break down what it means to be a woman in business now.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. You're right. I think especially after like the COVID era and the virtual era, there's a big craving for that in-person connection. And it's a lot to do with energetics. You know, I know you talk about this a lot, Lovely, just feeling the presence of someone else's energy who is positive, who's motivated, who's thinking on the same plane as you. There's a connection, there's a bond that's formed that you just can't have in virtual spaces. But on top of that, if you layer in adding values, right? People who care about the same thing you do, like you said, your business is important, your family is important. There's these, once these connections over values are formed, it's really easy to do business, right? It's becomes like a no-brainer. Like, of course I want to work with her for this. You know, she gets it, she gets me. So I really love curating those connections and bringing these women together over these shared values, because the bonds that are formed are so strong and they last a very long time.
And you're so right. I think that when we think about sisterhood, and I always say I have sisters, but my youngest sister is 18 years younger than me. And there's difference in language. That we
Yeah.
grew up with the same mom, but we did not grow up with the same mom, I always say.
Yeah.
And so being able to create this environment where you like almost you shop for sisterhood, and at some point it doesn't become a chore. It just, we are who we are together, and we help each other build. We may not, like, I'm in mental health, somebody else may be trying to get their doctorate degree and they're working in a social worker status, somebody else may really be in retail, but us being able to sit together and have those tough conversations, because as you expressed a little earlier, we have a tendency to put so much pressure on ourselves, and we think that we're supposed to be somewhere because that's the calendar. We wrote it in a calendar, and the calendar is the all encompassing. It's like the mighty grail, the holy grail, right?
Yeah.
But I also want us to remember that we're human, and that a lot of the times in our lives, what's supposed to happen, it happens, and how we deal with it, how we treat ourselves while it's happening is such a large part of that. Because I see us as women, I know that they say men are tenacious, but a wonderful group of women together, we accomplish so much.
Oh yeah,
We
definitely.
we are just, it's almost like superpowers, but just different. And
Hmm.
I love how much you really care about building women and holding us all accountable for ourselves, but also creating this space where we get what we need. And that's why I love the fact that you're really working with health insurance, because there's so much as we get older that we really need to take care of, and we don't always do that because we put the family first.
Yeah, yeah. There's something that you mentioned I really want to comment on, because I've struggled with this, especially after having a baby, being a mom. I had my first baby during COVID, and it was a really tough time for adjustments for all of us, right? For me, especially dealing with COVID, being isolated, and then being a brand new mom, having a newborn. And I really craved connection. I was my first child, so I wanted other mom friends. I reached out through the channels and found some local mom friends. But as I was growing, I realized I didn't have the sisterhood that I was craving, because my conversation with those mom friends were not on my level, because they are not
Mhm.
building multiple businesses and a mom. They're just maybe a stay-at-home mom. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I couldn't find that connection. So I just wanted to a message for listeners who maybe haven't found that perfect tribe or that perfect community. Sometimes it takes a while, right? And just don't give up. Like, keep looking and keep trying, because I felt really disappointed at that time. I was like, damn, I really need a friend who gets me, who's a mom and a business owner. And I wasn't finding it. I wasn't finding it until I decided to build it, until I decided to create,
Yes.
and bring together other C-suite women like myself who are also moms and managing multiple organizations. So
I
sometimes if you don't find it, you might just have to build it like me.
and you know what? And you're so right. And I did not even mean to speak over top of you. I just got excited because I love like those. I try not to do Oprah things, but the aha moment.
Yeah.
Um, when you are, my children are all 21 or over.
Hmm.
So I'm in a different space than you are. You're at the beginning of this beautiful. I always say, I know that it feels frustrating sometimes, and when you're a new mom and you're trying to do all these things, but I always say, look to the future. Look at the people who came before you. We made it. I'm not saying we're always great. Like sometimes you look over at us and we look a little disheveled, but we pull it back together. Um, but you're gonna do so well opening your mind to different avenues, understanding that as a mother, I am this person, but as a woman, I need these things in my life: sisterhood, understanding, conversation, and also understanding what's not good for you. Because sometimes we try to force ourselves into spaces that we don't belong simply because we want to be able to say that we did something. And I applaud you for understanding that, like, I appreciate that this space is here, but this isn't my space. This
Right,
isn't
right,
comfortable for me.
exactly. Yeah.
And I think we find guilt in that sometimes because we think we should be able to just suck it up,
Yeah.
buttercup,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah. Or it's not what I want, or it's simply like, hey, this is great, but this is not what I want right now, and it's not what I need right now. And it took a while to reconcile. For me personally, I was like, well, I should be grateful that I even, have a mom friend in this, COVID economy. But then I was like, no, this isn't filling my needs at all.
Yes, and time goes by so fast. I always say, we know that COVID happened because we were there and we experienced it, but it was like as soon as they let you back outside, it sped up 5 years. And
Yeah.
you're kind of looking back, and if you were building a business in the midst of COVID, or your business kind of came out of COVID, you
Mhm.
really had to play catch up in a lot of different ways. A lot of
Yeah.
laws changed, a
Yeah.
lot of the kind of nuances of being an entrepreneur change. You try to, in how you are introduced to people. There's so many virtual spaces, and as you said, we need that kinetic energy. We need
Yeah.
to be. You want to be in a space where you can feel the love, you can feel the frequency in the room, and that's very hard, especially if you're curating 3 or 4 businesses, if you're a mom, because you're trying to get all of this done and still get in the bed at a good time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Honestly, that's a challenging time. Like I could do it all, but am I going to sleep? And if I don't sleep, I can't do any of it.
I so agree with you. I tell people, I'm like, if I'm outside after 10 o'clock, I love
Yeah.
you. You
Yeah.
mean
Oh yeah.
something.
It takes a lot, right? To push back bedtime.
Absolutely. But like you said, I have hard boundaries. There are certain things that I know, if I don't do these things, I'm not going to be good to you or
Right.
myself. And I also know that I don't want to damage any of my relationships because I didn't hold up my end of the boundary. And that makes such a big difference. But as a business owner, you sometimes break boundaries. I just try to do
Yeah.
it when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So, can you? I try to ask, I love conversations where we talk about, what do you see for yourself in the future, and what things make you happy? What do you see for yourself in the future in the sense of you growing, kind of curating yourself more, and what makes you genuinely happy just as Noor, like just
Yeah.
being you?
Yeah. No, thank you for this because I was thinking about this exact same thing as we were mentioning before this call, that I'm in like my busiest 2 weeks of the year, which is just natural, right? And just in these 2 weeks, I'm miserable because I'm not doing the things that bring me joy, which I try to do consistently every single day, or at least a little. I'll share about what those things are. And just knowing that about myself, that just, exceeding my boundary just even a little bit, just 2 weeks out of the whole year, and I am so miserable. So it just like reminded myself that I need to stick to the things that bring me joy. And I did this exercise and I identified those things. So for me personally, it's reading. I love to read. I'm a big reader. So when I
Mm.
get my, even a chapter or even a page or two, I feel like, okay, I read, I got my reading in. Slow skincare. I don't like just washing my face. I like taking my time with it. It makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself. It feels like a really, really luxury treat for myself. And then spending quality time with my family. And spending time with my family for me does not mean like I'm checking my laptop or I have my phone in my hand while my kid's playing on his iPad. It really means that I'm fully engaged. We have no technology, and my son gets 100% of my attention, which he deserves. As a toddler, that's all he wants. So
Mm-hmm.
spending time with my kid and I'm working at the same time or multitasking or doing something else, to me, that's not spending time with him. And I know he feels the same way too. So I really try to make time for these three things routinely, regularly. So I don't feel like I need a break from my life or I can't wait
Yeah.
for my vacation, you know? I'm happy and fulfilled daily. And I realize that I've done a great job at it because just for 2 weeks when I'm not able to do that, you know, I'm getting a little less sleep than I'm used to, or I'm just, you know, washing my face quickly because I'm so exhausted and I have work the next morning and I am so miserable. And I thought to myself, like, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this anymore. And there's seasons, right? There's time in our life where I had to work really hard to build my business, but I'm here now where I can make that choice. I can say, no, I will not work beyond my boundaries for these 2 weeks of the year. I can choose that. So that was the decision that I came to. I'm like, next year, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna just block my time off and not be flexible with my boundaries, period.
I so love that. I was having the same conversation with my husband, and I said my three things are reading because he knows me. I love
Okay.
educating myself. Like, I'm one of those people who would take a class that doesn't need it for the credit.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
just my
Yeah.
um and I probably in a week will read about 3 or 4 books on top of an Audible kind of a it's just
Amazing.
I love when you have that duality of the
Yeah.
reality of what's happening in your world simultaneously with like some sci-fi
Some whimsical
fantasy
fantasy that's
romance.
so far from reality. I get
Yes,
it
I'm like, this is never going to
completely.
happen to me, but if it
Yeah.
did, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and I love the family portion of that because my house, I always say my house feels so refreshing. It's like the equivalent of a, it sounds so crass, but taking off your bra as a woman. Like I walk
Yeah.
into my house and it's just
Yes.
so comfortable.
Yes.
And it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like there's the boundaries are set, but we are all very free to be who we are, and you don't have to wear a mask. That makes
Hmm.
such a difference. And my third thing was I love being a woman. I love having the option to wear my hair long or not, to wear
Yeah.
makeup or not, to sit down and
Yeah.
have a slow makeup routine, a slow skincare routine.
Yes.
I'm like at 6 steps at this point. I'm like, no, 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 I
Yes.
need a toner.
Yes.
I need
Yes.
hyaluronic acid. I
Yes.
need like I
Yes.
take my time because
Yes.
stress shows on your face so fast. And
Yeah.
like you said, these last 2 weeks, they're stressing you out, but your body knows the difference.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really pays, it tells you, like, hey, we don't like what you're doing. Like, I'm
Hmm.
sorry. Like you said, I'm in the future, I will do better. But today,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're stressed. Today,
Yeah.
we're,
Yeah.
and I love that. I love having honest conversations because I think that when people, especially growing up, when we would see professional women, they were so put together that it almost felt unrealistic.
Mm.
So when you would not take the time to ask them questions, and they would probably tell you all the things that we're experiencing now. It's stressful sometimes. You have to learn how to have that work-life balance. Sometimes you have to shut your laptop and you have to turn your phone off and feel that anxiety of what if I missed the email? You have to do
Mm.
that.
Mhm.
But we never got to really see that. So being able to be in spaces where I get to talk to wonderful people like you and others where we express we have great times and we love our success, but there are times when we experience sadness and melancholy and we don't feel like we're able to accomplish all that we need to accomplish. But we really are because you having this conversation with me is wonderful. I meet another person who loves reading. I love a good makeup routine. It just is a giggly thing to me.
Yeah.
But also somebody who values their time with their family, which is kind of, it's not frowned upon now, but it's just like everything's so me centered that being able to watch your child grow, like that's like I said, mine's a 21, 23, and 26. And they need me more now than they did when they were little kids. It's amazing.
That's so
But
fun.
it's so different, you know? And I have enjoyed every stage of my children's life. I don't look back and say, "Oh, I wish you were 7," because I enjoyed 7. Like I enjoyed the teens, but that's my personality. I don't want you to change who you are to fit me. I want to learn how to work together so that I get to see who you really are as a person. And I'm sure you've looked at your child and said, that is not me or your dad. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that. No, so I do appreciate that. And I don't want to, I want you to have a little bit of debriefing time for yourself before you start your next call.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
yeah, I absolutely want you to do that. But I want you to tell us where we can reach you, how we can reach you, and just expand upon the resources that you have so that if anyone needs you, they absolutely will come to you.
Yes, definitely. I try to make myself very accessible because I want all of my years of knowledge and experience to, to help you with whatever solution you need. So if you have any questions about health insurance, some common situations that I can help with are if you're looking at Cobra, if you're thinking about going from full-time corporate role to full-time entrepreneurship, not to you don't know what to do about health insurance. If you're 26 and about to age off your parents' plan, never had to worry about health insurance, now you got to figure it out. Any type of self-employed or small business situation, I'd love to help advise. You can learn more about me and my services on my website. That's drnoorhealth.com, drnoorhealth.com. You can also find me on socials. I'm very, very active on LinkedIn and Instagram. You can follow my whole life and stories on my Instagram account at dr.noorhealth, Dr. Noor Health. And same for Think Like a Woman. This is a very exclusive opportunity to attend my roundtable events, but I have a larger networking call for the community, which is going to start next year. It's called Networking Done Right. And we kind of show up and we just get to the point. Like, why are you here? Tell us how we can help you. Help us help you. So I ask that if you come to my networking calls, that you just show up with your list of links, where you want people to follow you, what you want them to do. Just be very clear about that and ask us how we can open doors for you, what opportunities you need right now. That's the crux of the Think Like a Woman networking calls. You can learn more about the company, the values, the brunch roundtable at thinklikeawoman.co. And there's also wonderful, very affordable opportunities to sponsor the event. You can, if you have a product, you can get your product into the gift bag. If you have a service, there's opportunities where we can help promote that as well.
Awesome, awesome. I appreciate it. And are you limited to certain states, or you're able to help no matter where the person's located?
No matter where. So currently, this changes according to like the laws and my certifications, but I'm currently licensed to consult in 34 states across the US. And the plans I have access to are usually PPO plans, which means nationwide coverage. So I'm open to a conversation wherever you are.
Awesome. I really appreciate you talking to me. I hope you have, after your call, a great kind of debrief, and
Yes,
then you go back into your power woman mode, because I love a good, powerful woman. It makes me so happy. And I hope we can talk again in the future. I really want to kind of have a deeper conversation about health
yes,
insurance and why we need that and how it really helps a business.
totally lovely. I would love to continue this conversation. Thank you again for this opportunity and having me on your show.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found some healing, connection, and joy. Until next time, bye, loves.